Everyone, Disco here. How we doing? I decided to take a little bit of a change, and today I'm going to talk about my ADHD and the way that impacts me. Now, there's a lot of different ways that ADHD can impact you as both a child and an adult. And as an adult, I battle with a lot of lack of preparation. That's one thing that I have. As you can tell by my videos, I do not actually prepare. I just literally speak on the fly. So one time I did a video and I actually had notes. That was different. I also get very easily sidetracked. I have a very, very short attention span, so everything that just comes out. I don't really have much of a filter, and a lot of this could be considered to be more of the autism, but a lot of there is a lot of similarities, but you can tell when it's ADHD and when it's the autism. That's very, very obvious. But it can be things like maybe I got a laptop. So I could have made this video on a laptop. However, I don't have the attention span to sit there and work it all out. So instead I just went, oh well, I'll pick up my phone and I'll make a video. But I could have sat there and worked out my laptop, and then I could have made the video on that. But I don't have the attention span. However, I did purchase The Sims 4 and I'm learning that I still keep going on and off, and I will do something else. There's 1,000 different tasks that I'll start doing. So you get so easily sidetracked. There's always something else that you want to do. You can't focus on just one thing. There is also the emotional aspect. Your emotions tend to flick here, there, and everywhere. But you can manage that. I see a psychologist, as I've mentioned before. That is also for the autism, but it helps a lot because you can analyze what emotions you have so you can learn better to control them. Because for me, the most important thing in life is that you learn where you're not doing the best and you learn to improve upon that. Because you can't carry on going around in circles and not getting anything done. There are always ways that you can try and make something better. You just have to put in the effort. Which is not the easiest, but you can do it. It's varying to different degrees for everyone. But it's important to try. And I'm trying to think of other ways that it does affect me. As a kid, I'd always be staring off into space. So I was not the best student. Whether that was the autism or not, I don't know, but I just had no attention span. I would start doing essays for assessments. I might get 1,000 words in, and then all of a sudden I would just drift off. And the assessment would be turned in halfway through. But I realised that. So then when I went to do TAFE, I got a diploma. So I went straight out and I actually went and did that diploma, and I knew my attention span was not the best. So I had to focus hard if I wanted to pass. Anytime my attention wavered, I would go and do something else. I would come back 5 minutes later, I would refocus. Because I knew it was important. If I had to go for a walk, I'd go for a 5-minute walk, I would come back, and then I would refocus on that assessment. But I had to learn to control it. I couldn't let it control me. And that was not easy. As an adult, you get better at learning to manage it. As a child, it's not easy to manage. You really need a lot of support. And unfortunately, I'm from the generation where in the 90s there was like mass diagnosis of everything. The only problem was there was not a lot of support. You could see a psychologist, but they didn't really have the resources to really help you. I can remember one time when I was diagnosed apparently with ADHD. I went in there and I played board games with the psychologist. Now, I don't know how that was supposed to help, but it didn't help. Because as you can imagine, playing the board game, it was like I was looking around the room, I had so many other thoughts going on. I mean, even when I'm doing a video, I've got songs in the back of my head. I mean, right now, I've got Electric Blue by Icehouse. That is playing in the back of my head. I've got like 10 million thoughts on what I'm going to do today. I've actually got The Sims on my laptop right now. There's just so many things going through my head all at once. And I'm trying to focus on making this video. Excuse me, my apologies. So I've got to find a way to cut out the chatter in the back of my head where it's just whirling and whirling and whirling and whirling, and focus. And that's the hardest part of all. Once again, retraining your mind to cut that out and refocus. It is possible. It's not easy, and I can only do it for short periods of time, but I can do that. And I am a parent, so you've got to know to identify these things so you can focus on doing what needs to be done. You can't carry on being just wild, rambunctious or whatever, or being a carefree teenager. I mean, it's great if you suddenly want to go for a walk at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, that's totally safe. I did so many dumb things when I was a teenager. I mean, that is just insane. I mean, really, that is. But that was the level of impulsivity. I would just go for a walk, 3 o'clock in the morning. There's just, I wake up, I need to go for a walk. Boom, go straight for a walk. There was no control. I didn't learn at the time that I needed to bring that behavior into check. But I learned over time. I could feel it coming on. I would stop and think, okay, this is not the behavior you need to display. You need to make a better choice right now. Stop, think, and then make your decision. Is this a good idea? Okay, there are lots of pros, there are lots of cons. Make a list. And then at the end of it, I can make a decision. This worked for me. I'm only speaking about myself, as always, not for everyone. So for me, that worked. And I learned from that. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I had a lot of water and I've just swallowed it wrong. But yeah. So I managed to live a very humdrum life. I think I lived like the most boring sort of life. But at least I learned to manage it. You wouldn't know by watching me that I have ADHD, but it's the little things I do that you can get an indication that it's there. I mean, I can stop myself from going for walks at 3 o'clock in the morning now because I have my son. But if he wasn't there, I probably wouldn't want to. But I learned to manage that. I made the random decision the other day to, because we're not in lockdown, I took my son to a theme park. We used all appropriate management of safety and everything, masks and all that. Hand washing, I have the dry hand wash solution. So I followed everything to make sure it was safe. But I made the random decision 2 days before, okay, we're going to a theme park. And that was literally just it. It's that sort of random impulse. Most people put planning into that sort of stuff, but it's just a random impulse, and I follow through. But then again, it was a positive choice. I weighed up the pros and cons and went, okay, yeah, you can follow through. So I'm learning to at least balance it. I mean, I don't sleep well because I often have so many thoughts racing through my head, and trying to organize times and plans. I mean, as a parent, you've got to have school lunch prepared before they go to school. So you have to allot time to do that. Me, on the other hand, I don't have a lot of time, so I just do it any time of the night. So I could be doing one thing, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, it's 8 o'clock at night. Better do it now. Okay, it's 10 o'clock at night. I better do it now. It's very all over the place. It does get done though. That's the one thing I make sure I focus on. It still gets done. I have to literally have about 4,000 alarms in my calendar to make sure it gets done. that's also an important way that I found of managing it, because I can't go off of the list of things that I have to do and just go random. If I have a list to follow, it's helped me manage it even better. But I would say it's still there as an adult. You just have to learn better management techniques. You have to seek out appropriate behavioural techniques, like through a therapist. Um, it's difficult because you are considered neurodivergent regardless of whether you have autism or whatever. It's still on the spectrum. So it is advisable that you seek help. You can try and manage it on your own like I did originally, but it's not always successful for everyone. But I do advise, if you have ADHD, that it's a good idea to seek out some form of treatment just so you can learn ways to manage it appropriately. Some people may need medications. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you what to do. But you may need medications. You may need to regularly see a psychologist. There's lots of different ways. But I do advise you to seek out an appropriate form of treatment. But that's just a little bit off the top of my head. I can't think at the moment now because the chaos is coming back. So anyway, I haven't even thought of a thumbnail for this video yet. That's literally how far behind in preparation I am. I just automatically went, I'm going to make a video. It's literally that random. And I don't even think of filters, nothing like that. That just happens randomly. So sometimes that's why you get filters on the videos, sometimes you don't. It's all random. And I apologize if you would expect better quality on videos, but that's just the way I operate. So that's just me. I try and just be me for you guys. So I hope you appreciate that. Alright, anyway, I'm gonna head off. So much love, guys, and disco out.